groups and to work individually. It'll be very participatory. The idea is that we're going to try these strategies out, and then we're going to talk about, okay, what will be the application for my classroom? I think starting tomorrow, we'll start looking actually at the first and second year textbooks and using actual excerpts of the textbooks so you have a clear idea of how we might apply these strategies to the work you do. All right? So it's going to be very participatory. Today you'll work with one group, but then tomorrow I'm going to change seats so you get to know more of your colleagues and have that experience of working with new friends. Okay? So what I want to do now is I'll introduce myself again, and then I'm going to have all of you introduce yourself. Okay? So we're going to start off like that. So my name's Spencer Salas. Like Selena said, I'm from the University of North Carolina at Charlotte, where I'm an associate professor, and I do applied linguistics TESOL. Now you might wonder, why are you teaching English as a second language in the United States? Actually, I train teachers to work in schools to teach English as a second language. Well, North Carolina historically was not a destination for immigrants, right? New York was, Chicago was, Los Angeles, but people had historically come to the South. However, that changed in the 90s with the Atlanta Olympic Games. So there was a big industrial boom in Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, and actually North Carolina, something like Hyderabad in the 80s and 90s repositioned its industry. Traditionally, North Carolina had been a very rural state that had specialized in textile production, cotton textile, right, and furniture. But in the 80s, those industries began declining, and they invested a lot in higher education and especially research development of technology. So we have in North Carolina what we call the research triangle. It's kind of like Hyderabad, right? Same idea. It was a big emphasis on research, and consequently, there was a big development of the university system, and there was this large immigration because people were coming for jobs, right? So we have a large population of Spanish speakers that are coming from Central and South America and also from other parts of the United States. And that's primarily what I do. I train teachers, K through 12, to work with students, with immigrant students in government schools and public schools, all right? So unlike, I think, India, we don't have a national system of education. It's state by state. And so to teach in North Carolina, you need a license from the state, and that's what we do at the College of Education. I began teaching in Washington, D.C. public schools for 7 years, later to the Fulbright to Romania, then to Peru, finished up a PhD in Georgia, and since 2007 I've been in North Carolina. And this is my second visit to Hyderabad. I came in 2010, I think, right before the Commonwealth Games, the same year. And so I'm very happy to be back to work with you. Okay? So what I'd like you to do is each teacher is going to stand and tell us your name and where you're teaching, right? And yeah, I think that would be the best thing. All right. Face your question.
Shouldn't have.
Yeah.
Good morning. My name is Bangari. I'm working with the Government English College. I am also new as per this degree college. This is I got promotion.
Okay, very good. Welcome. D. Bangari. Okay, thank you.
Good morning. My name is Vijay Bhaskar Sharma. I'm working at a degree college Madrasalam. Also a
Sharma. So you all, so by new promoter, you just started in when? In what year? 2013? Okay, great. Fantastic. All right, thank you.
Good morning. I am A. V. Sharma from Government Degree College, Siddipet. Medak district.
Okay, welcome.
Good morning, each and everybody. So this is Yadagiri from Government Degree College, Ramanapet, Nalgonda district. Thank you.
Welcome.
Good morning, I am Pandit Judit, working as lecturer at
Okay.
This is Mr. Srikanth, GDC Thur.
Shrikar.
Srikanth.
Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I am Jayakar Rao, Government Degree College, Siddipet.
Okay, welcome.
Good morning.
Great.
JVR Government College, Sattupalli. I was appointed in the year 2008.
Welcome.
Hey everyone, this is S.O. Kumar, BDC Mahbubabad. Thank you.
Okay, welcome. That's nice. Nancy, you know everybody. Go ahead.
I'm Nancy Serena, lecturer in English. Right now I'm in the academic center.
Good morning, all of you. I am Shabi Fatima, lecturer in music, ABV Government Degree College, Changaon.
Okay, welcome.
Good morning, my dear sisters and brothers. I am Varalakshmi Golapudi from GDC Balvancha from Pune district.
Okay.
Good morning to all. I am Ramakrishna from GDC Godalpudi district Karimnagar. Thanks for listening.
Good morning, friends. I am Rajesh. I am lecturer in English in Government Degree College, Kirkia, and Northeast.
Okay, well.
Good morning, Mananda. I'm Sri Marty. I'm from Government Degree College, Karimnagar.
Okay, well.
Good morning, everybody. I am Tanuja from Government Degree College for Mount Baby.
Good morning, everybody. I am Dr. Shobha Rani, working in Government Degree College, Mekkali, and I belong to Karimnagar district.
Okay,
Thank
welcome.
you so much.
Thank you.
Hello everyone, I'm Rupna Ravindran. I'm from Government Degree College, Sharnagar.
Good morning, everyone. I am Suvarna. I am working at GDC Ramshankar of Warangal district.
Good morning. I am Uma K. I am working in Government Degree College, Agraharam, Karimnagar district.
All right, welcome.
Good morning, all. I am Adat Nathwin, Government Degree College, Zahirabad, Medak district.
Good morning everyone. I'm Shobha, working at GDC Gateway, Medak district.
Good morning. I am Rosalind. I am a lecturer working in this academic cell at Government.
All right, thank you very much. You're
Basically a lecturer in English. I'm from Visakhapatnam. I'm right now working in the academic center.
okay.
Okay, good morning, everyone. I am Bimla Rode, basically lecturer in microbiology, working in academics.
Great.
I am Rani. I am mentor working in data science.
Okay. That's nice. You want to say hello? Go
Yeah.
ahead.
I'm principal actually, but basically lecturer in English.
Okay.
But now I'm deputy director in this office.
Oh, excellent. Okay, you want to?
Basically, I am a lecturer in zoology. Right now, I am working as academic officer in the academic cell.
Great. Okay, so we have, thank you very much and welcome to all. So, look at page 5. Here are some principles for discussion. But let me ask you a question. And yes, we have more handouts for you in the back here. Let me ask you a quick question before we begin. And I'll write it on the board. Here you go. Who else needs a handout? Anybody else need a booklet? Okay, I'm going to leave them right here. So here's a question, and actually we can begin some of these strategies. What are the challenges of classroom discussion? Okay, and then how have you problem solved? Those challenges. Now, here's what today, the thing that I want you to take away from everything we do today is that if we're going to increase if we're going to increase the quality of classroom discussion, one of the first things we can do is allow students more time to prepare, right? So, many times when we think of communicative language teaching, we think of spontaneity, yes? And so I might just throw the question out to you, and it could be any question. For example, what's your favorite color? What's your favorite color? What? Okay, white. So for example, when I ask this question directly to the student or the colleague, you know, at first you're a little bit nervous, right? And what happens when the teacher just asks the question, okay, what are the challenges of classroom discussion? It's always the same 3 students that respond, the most extroverted students, right? So here's what we can do to begin distributing the discussion, increasing the net of participation, and the thoughtfulness, the quality of the discussion. First, write down your individual response to this question. So we give the student some time to actually organize his thoughts. So this is what we call think, pair, share, but I like to call it write, pair, share, because I actually like the students to write down their ideas. Why do I insist on the writing? Because then as the teacher, I can go around and see who's having difficulty, who's not having difficulty. If someone's struggling, I will intervene, right? But I'll go around, and that way I can say, okay, everybody has at least one idea on paper. Okay. Then we would have you share in small groups, maybe in a pair or in a group of 5, and then we'll have the discussion. You see what I mean? And this is true of whether you're asking a question like this, or if you're asking your students, what did you do this weekend? You see what I mean? You want to give them multiple opportunities to organize their thoughts, practice with a partner or a small group, and then they'll have the confidence that I can call on other people than the 3 extroverted students in the class who always respond to every question. You see what I mean? And this is especially true with a large class, because I can monitor, okay, I'm sure everybody's ready for this question at this time. And now I can begin calling on people that I don't usually call on. See what I mean? All right, so individually respond to this question on paper, and then after a few minutes, we'll share in groups. Okay? So the question is, what are some of the challenges? Can you see it? What are some, maybe we could, do we need this line? What are some of the challenges of classroom discussion? So we keep it positive. We say challenge, not problem, right? Because we think positive. What are some of the challenges? And then not only what are the challenges, how did you solve those challenges? How did you face those challenges? Okay, individually first. To write down your ideas. whatever's most convenient. Here, adjust yourself. So a group of 5. And what we're going to do is have each person, I'd like you to read what you wrote. Okay? 4. Let's do a 4 for this. Okay, 5. So you'll be here. 5. Yeah, come over here. The 3 ladies and the 2 gentlemen. And you're a group of 4, and maybe you want to. You're so make sure you introduce yourself again. Make sure you do it. So now I want you to ask this question, and then have each person read what they wrote and explain their. And then we're going to have the discussion. Okay. And you're going to record and report. Okay. So good.
Communication and then they are nervous, they don't come forward. They have inhibition or fear to participate. They are not motivated. They face difficulty in
You agree that a common problem it's less motivated, the women are less or equally. The boys, right? The boys are not as motivated. The girls are usually more communicative, more serious. The boys, yeah. And then we'll report to the whole group. Did you share your ideas already? Okay. So did somebody record some of the top ideas? Okay, so you're ready. The last heard a lot of ideas. So pick one that you want to share, but don't forget, how have you problem solved that challenge? So it's not only the challenge, what's the solution? Potential, or what are some potential solutions? So just decide on one together. What's your top challenge and what's the solution? So brainstorm a solution. Let's just finish that thought. And here's how we're going to report out. Okay, so we did the right pair share. And while you did right pair sharing, the teacher's checking who's having difficulty. Then you shared with your small group. You got a chance to hear other ideas, right? Practice your ideas. And now we're going to report for the whole group, right? So this is the sequence I really like, that I think is very effective in terms of broadening the participation and the quality of the participation. Because some students are more thoughtful, they have ideas, but they want to be more prepared before they speak. They just don't like to say whatever comes to their head. Other students, very extroverted, they have no problem. They'll just love to talk, love to answer questions, but other people don't. So we want to broaden that participation. Now, so that's called think right, pair, share, or pair group. Whoa. Think right, group share, actually. Okay? Now, here's the next way that we're gonna report out. It's called last man or last woman standing. So I want all the reporters to stand up. Whoever's reporting for you as a group, you'll stand. Okay, this group, who's going to report, you stand. Now, by having them stand, it serves two purposes. First, they can't continue working. So they're going to be paying attention, because sometimes, this is what I found, is that students learn or conditioned that it doesn't matter what the classmate says, it only matters what the teacher says. So it's sometimes difficult for the students to listen to the classmates, right? So by making the reporters stand up, or you can even have them come to the front, the group stop working. Do you see what I mean? And they start to listen, all right? So the way this works is called last man standing. We'll start, but if your idea, someone already says what you were going to say, you can sit down. So sometimes we have repetition, you can sit down, and we'll do this until there's just one woman standing or one man standing, the last man standing, all right? So if you hear your idea, they say pretty much what you were going to say, you can sit down, and we'll just continue until everybody is sitting. All right, Nancy, you want to start?
The first challenge that the teacher faces in a classroom is a very large classroom. And especially if it is a BCom class, I think BSc class is quite moderate. A BCom class, the strength would be around 90, 100 or 120. So that's a major challenge. And students, they need quite a lot of help with regard to skills. So, and most of the students, because they belong to rural areas, teachers have to build a lot of confidence in them.
Yes.
So these are all the challenges. And another challenge which I faced was students come without the textbook. They don't even buy the textbook. They don't own a textbook.
That's true.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So what are some solutions?
Solutions, like for a large classroom, we were just discussing, sir, that we can divide the classroom just as you have divided us into groups. So for certain activities, we can just, not for all. Like when we are taking a theory class, we cannot, but when we are working out on exercises, we can definitely divide them into groups.
Okay. All right.
And we can give them an opportunity to speak, like give them activities like self-introduction or just a minute.
Okay. All right, let's give our hand. Thank you to that group. All right, let's Sharma.
Hello, good morning. I'm A.V. Sharma. I try to more generalize the questions. Number one, the problem is to buy mother tongue intervention regarding grammar.